connect with Vanda, Hari, and let's understand that how should one analyze the impact of crude. Vanda, good morning. Thank you for joining us. In a sudden move, OPEC has decided to reduce production. Is this desperation that they want to protect their market share because Russians are, in a sense, entering into side deals with countries like India, and OPEC is getting desperate?
Good morning. So I think that might be one way to look at it. Look, OPEC Plus had always been signaling, especially since late last year, that they want to be preemptive, proactive, in case oil demand doesn't pan out the way that had been expected through 2023. But I think the latest move is especially shocking for the markets, because I think it is a stretch even assuming their preemptive and proactive stance. Because, really the question is, what did they see that the rest of the market hasn't? So yes, there was the banking crisis, crude crashed to 15-month lows, Brent below $73 several days ago. But it had, as the banking crisis fears abated, it had crept back up towards $80 a barrel, which is, back in the sort of comfort zone of OPEC plus. And, the move really flies in the face of several things, including the Saudi energy minister until very recently saying that OPEC Plus will maintain its current production policy, which is before this Sunday's decision, the policy until the end of the year. And we had OPEC's monthly report just a fortnight ago, maintaining a pretty rosy outlook on global oil demand growth. They said it'll be about 2.3 million barrels per day year-on-year increase in demand. So surprising on several fronts.
Right. Vandana, what's the outlook in terms of, the overall weakening global economy, the fact that we have seen sanctions so far having had a limited impact on restricting those Russian oil supplies? In light of that, how would you look at this move?
So the Russian oil supply situation, I would say, is quite comfortable, and that would probably have been one of the reasons for OPEC's latest move. The kind of disruption and supply cuts from Russia that the market had anticipated or feared through 2022 certainly did not materialize. Of course, Russia said that it will decrease its production by about 500,000 barrels per day. That's very, very minor compared to outages of up to even 2 million barrels per day that had been feared at one point last year. So that is not an issue. But the other thing that was a major dampener on the markets and partly explains OPEC's latest move is that Chinese oil demand rebound hasn't panned out as had been expected, or as, let's say, the most bullish in the oil markets participants had probably hoped for at the start of this year. So where does this take us in terms of prices? I think the latest OPEC Plus move doesn't really send them spiraling up towards 90s or let alone 100, in my view. I think what OPEC Plus is trying to do and will probably achieve by this move is put a floor under prices. So it seems to me that they were probably spooked by the crash in prices that we saw a couple of weeks ago in the height of the banking crisis. So they're probably trying to put a floor, anticipate, potential future such financial market shocks and perhaps having a longer term impact on demand.
So what are we staring at in terms of levels, Vandana? Because it clearly seems like a knee-jerk reaction for now, but would you say that maybe 84 on the Brent could be the new base?
Really hard to say, because again, I think it will depend on how Chinese demand pans out. Now, let's imagine that the best case scenario of the oil bulls does play out and Chinese demand recovers quite strongly. I dare say OPEC Plus will be under pressure again to put some of this oil back into the market. But again, going back to my earlier answer, as I said, maybe a floor. I don't think this move is going to push prices too much higher, because there is a lot of nervousness, there is a lot of risk aversion still in the markets, even after the fears over the banking crisis have abated. I think the Fed is going to continue tightening, so that is also a downward pressure on oil prices. I wouldn't bet on a sustained spike in prices as a result of the latest moves. I would say probably most of the reaction to OPEC Plus latest move is already baked into the prices that we are seeing right now, Brent around 85.
Appreciate your time. Thanks very much, Vandana, for giving us a heads up on how things are trending when it comes to crude oil prices and the impact of the OPEC surprise move. Well, we wrapped up our markets